Welcome back, everyone. This is GTA Failer. In our previous video, we tackled all 8 of the robberies over here on the Eastern Island, and we needed a health refill, so we ended the last video picking up an armor spawn right inside that little hut. This video is all about the off-road missions. We've already tackled the 2 off-road missions over on the Western Island. We did that in a previous video. Those were the 2 dirt track missions up on the northernmost part of the Western Island. Trial by Dirt was the one on the Sanchez, and then the Landstalker one was called Test Track. So there are 2 remaining off-road missions, both here on the Eastern Island, Pcj Playground, which is what we'll start with, and then Cone Crazy. So PCJ Playground involves getting onto a fixed PCJ 600, which is the fastest motorcycle in the game. It's just up ahead here on the left, right in the corner of this building. And I'm going to fast forward through saving my game just a couple of times right here to advance time to get us a nice daylight opportunity to do this mission. And let's go ahead and take a look at the instructions together for PCJ Playground. You have 120 seconds to collect 24 checkpoints. You may collect them in any order. That's true, but there's basically one natural order to collect them. Pass through the first checkpoint to start the timer. So you can see here there's no timer in the top right corner, and there's a whole bunch of triangles there, the purple triangles on the mini-map. And as soon as I collect this first Corona, that blue one, then the timer begins. So it's 2 minutes to get through all 24, and you can see on the bottom of the screen it said 1 of 24. And if you don't finish in 2 minutes, then you fail. And so I fast forwarded through waiting here for 2 minutes so I can show you the failure message. You bailed, too tough for you. Yep, very, very tough. Okay, so now we'll head right back to the starting location of PCJ Playground. And you can see that another PCJ has spawned right there. And so I'll hop on this PCJ. Now I can skip the instructions, which I will by pushing the W key, but you can't skip the instructions the first time you do PCJ Playground in a given save file, which is different from the RC missions. Okay, notice that there's no countdown timer. I don't have 2 minutes to get back on a PCJ because I hadn't collected the first Corona. But now if I get off, it'll say, hey, you only have 1:55 to get on a PCJ. But it turns out there's nothing special about that particular PCJ. You can get on any PCJ. And so here that 107-second warning goes away because now I'm back on a PCJ, and I'll go ahead and collect 1 checkpoint on this different PCJ. Get up there, easy. And now we'll destroy this PCJ, which for some other missions with mission-specific vehicles, that instantly fails the mission. But in this case, you can do this mission in any PCJ. So it's not a failure. I just have to get back on any PCJ. Here I'm on the mission, but if you get into any other vehicle other than a PCJ, you fail instantly. You don't wait for the countdown timer to go, you just fail immediately, and you get the same message as if you had run out of time. Okay, so now we'll fast forward through heading right back over here, and now I will get off of this PCJ and right back on and start the mission. So you can bring a PCJ over here. You don't have to use the mission-specific one, but it's a little bit different from the RC missions in that you could get into a Top Fun van and drive it into the marker, and the mission would start right away, but not so with PCJ Playground. We had to get off and then back on the PCJ in order to start the mission. So what I just did there is show you that while I'm on PCJ Playground, while this mission is active, I cannot do unique stunts. That ramp that we just jumped over should have put us in a slow motion animation, and we probably would have gotten credit for the unique stunt jump. But you can't do them while you're on PCJ Playground. And so I don't know why it was programmed that way, but it was. And so here I'm doing the same exact jump, but now I'm no longer on the mission. I failed it by getting into that comet briefly. And you can see the standard slow motion animation, and we'll get credit for the unique jump. Now, I don't want to do this unique jump right now, so I'm going to reload my save state so that we're back to having none of the unique jumps completed here on the Eastern Island. And so now I think what I'm going to do is a legitimate attempt of PCJ Playground, like a completion of this mission. Note that I can't skip the cutscene because I just reloaded the save, and so I hadn't seen the cutscene according to this save file. But I'm going to skip ahead to the tail end of it because I'm going to pass this mission 3 times in this video, and I'll just show you my last pass, which is my best attempt at it. So here's the end of that same attempt. There is the penultimate checkpoint. Oh, look out, almost fell off. And now we're going to finish with 6 seconds, about 7 seconds left on the clock. So minute 53, and we get $1,000, and we get the credit in terms of the completion percentage, and we get a brand new stat in the stats menu. Right there at the bottom, fastest time on Pcj Playground, a minute 53. So just remember that. Minute 53, we had 7 seconds or so left on the clock. And now I'm going to skip the drive back over to that starting location for this mission, but I didn't reload my save state, so I have passed this mission once in this save file, and therefore I can skip the cutscene because I've already started this mission. And I'm gonna get a slower time here. Remember, minute 53 with about 6 or 7 seconds left on the clock was my best time. So let's see what happens if you complete, but with a worse time than your best time. So you still get the mission passed message, but in this case you don't get $1,000, which is what we got for passing it the first time. We only get $100. And the fastest time on Pcj Playground is still the previous time because I didn't best it with this attempt. And now again, I will skip the drive back, but this is the same save file. I didn't reload my save. And now here I'll show you the entirety of my best run at Pcj Playground. So my challenge here wasn't all that challenging, frankly. I just wanted to have a clean run where I didn't fall off the bike and I didn't miss any of the coronas. So for example, this corona, sometimes I'm too low and I miss it. So if I did that, then I would have just reloaded my save. And sometimes, like I hit this corona here, but sometimes I don't get up on this building. Now I did end up going a little bit too far. I was kind of out of control, so had to back up my bike, and that probably cost me about 5 seconds on the attempt. So it wasn't a perfect attempt, but that's okay. This truck going by here is a fixed truck during this particular mission to kind of give you this cool idea of jumping over a moving vehicle, and then that truck just going from right to left was also fixed. It turns out if you're really aggressive, you can actually get in front of that truck. I've never tried that, but I've seen it done. And I guess it's time for us to rate Pcj Playground. It's pretty fun. I enjoy it. It can be frustrating if you miss some jumps, but frankly, the 2-minute timer is quite generous. I'll finish here with the best time of like a minute 12, something like that. And so you don't have to be perfect in order to complete this in the 2 minutes. So I'll give this an 8 out of 10. It's fun. Let us know your rating for this mission in the comments below. Note that we get $1,000 for beating our previous best time as compared to the $100 we got for completing the mission, but in a slower time than our best time. Tell me what your best time is. I don't know if a minute 12 is good or bad. Like I said, I think I could beat that by at least 5 seconds and probably more if I practice this a little bit. And here we go, updated time on Pcj Playground. So now we will save right up here, and then we will head over to the 4th and final off-road mission. Our final off-road mission is called Cone Crazy, and it's located on the top level of a parking garage just west of our main safe house. It's a really basic checkpoint mission. You just have to collect 5 checkpoints that are all close to each other before time runs out, and it's very easy to complete this mission in under 30 seconds. Despite the simplicity of this checkpoint mission, this mission played a major role in multiple speedrun categories of Vice City for years. And in fact, it took me a solid 3 hours to record the footage that I wanted to get for the purposes of this episode. So let's take a look at the instructions together. Collect 5 checkpoints without smashing any cones. You may collect checkpoints in any order. We'll see about that. Pass through a checkpoint to start the timer. Each checkpoint will credit you with 12 seconds. That's true the first time you pass it, but it's going to change after we pass it the first time. Okay, so it's fine to knock over these cones and push them around, but if you crush one of them by hitting it when your car is going too fast, then you fail the mission. So you can see the countdown timer up at the top. It was 10, now it went up to 21, now it's at 19, went up to 31. So every time you touch one of these, you get 12 seconds added to your clock. I'll pause here for just a few moments because I wanted to make it easy to pass this mission with a slower time and a faster time. So let's go into the final checkpoint. 32 seconds, mission passed, $200 and a new record. And we'll check out the stats menu. Indeed, we see a new statistic here, Cone Crazy, 32 seconds. All right, so let's try that again. It was so much fun. So we're going to remember the $200 reward and the 32-second time. Now I'm going to push W to skip the cutscene. You can't skip the cutscene the first time you see the cutscene, but you can skip it after that with W. So if you smash a cone, you fail, but it's not that big a deal because all you need to do is drive right back into the starting location of that stallion and get in, and you will start the mission again. So there, I passed the mission, and I got $200, but I didn't get a new best time. I passed with a time slower than my 32 seconds personal record. So every time you pass with a slower time, you get $200, but here I passed with 18 seconds and I got $400. Okay, that's interesting. So the question is this a linear sequence, the $200 to $400, does it go up to $600, or does it double every time? Is it a geometric sequence? Okay, so there, I got a slower time. Again, I got my $200 and I blew up my car, so I'll skip ahead. I just drove a couple hundred yards away from here and then came back and we just got a brand new stallion. Although if you see a stallion in the street, you're welcome to bring it up here. And let's try Cone Crazy again, skipping the cutscene with W. So remember, we passed in 18 seconds. That's our personal record. And the question is, how much cash do we get if we pass faster than 18 seconds? So the first two data points we have, $200 for the first pass, $400 for beating our previous record, which was 18 seconds. So can we beat 18 seconds? Yes, we can. 16 seconds, and we just went from $400 to $800. This is a geometric sequence, gang, where the money doubles every single time. You can see the statistic has been updated. The programming choice that Rockstar made to double the money every time is why this used to be a major part of multiple categories of speedrun of this game, and it's why it took me 3 hours to do everything I wanted to do as I was recording footage for this game. So here in quadruple speed, I'm demonstrating that you can collect the checkpoints in a different order than the one that I just did. And you can see we'll pass, and I didn't pass with a faster time, so we got the standard $200. Okay, you fail if you get out before you collect the first checkpoint. You failed, too tough for you. And there's no grace period where it says you have, 10 seconds to get back in the stallion. And now I will show you that you also fail if you get out after collecting the first checkpoint. So do not get out of this vehicle at any point if you want to pass Cone Crazy. So we'll collect the first checkpoint and we get out. And again, we bailed. It was too tough for us. So I just reloaded my save state from before we had any passes of this mission. So as long as we complete this mission, whatever time we get will establish our new personal record. And I want to use this mission repeatedly to get money. Lots of money. We're going to take advantage of the fact that the money doubles with every consecutive personal best time on this mission. So I want to be really careful with what kind of a time I get here. What I want to get is the slowest possible time where I can still pass. So I'm going to head into this marker with 0 on the clock, which is going to give me a pass time of 47 seconds. The reason that's 47 seconds is that you have 5 checkpoints, each of which gives you 12 seconds additional when you pass through. 12 times 5 is 60 seconds. However, when you touch the last checkpoint, you've completed the race. So you don't actually get the 12 seconds for that last checkpoint, only for the first 4 checkpoints. So 4 times 12 is 48 seconds. And even though we passed with 0 seconds on the clock, the game gives us a credit of 1 second left on the clock, which means that instead of passing in 48 seconds, we passed in 47 seconds. So initially, the game gives you 12 seconds per checkpoint, but then after you pass it the first time, it only gives you 11 seconds per checkpoint. And so again, we're going to pass here with 0 on the clock, which will give us a time of 43 seconds because those 4 11-second checkpoints gave us 44 seconds of time, and we finished with 1 second, basically. Okay, so we rinse and repeat for a while. So we just got $200 and then $400. So when we pass it here with a personal best, we'll get $800 and then $1,600, etc. But again, always want to be aware of the time. And so here, the bonus time every time you hit a checkpoint is down to 10 seconds. Remember, initially it was 12 seconds per checkpoint, then 11, and now 10. And so again, we're going to finish with 0 on the clock, which will give us a completion time, in this case, of 39 seconds. Originally was 47, and then 43 seconds, and now 39 seconds. Excellent, and we're up to $800. That was so much fun. Let's do it again. And what I'm cutting out here is me saving the game after every attempt because I'm a coward and I don't want to mess it up. Or if I do mess it up, I don't want to have to redo anything. Okay, so there we passed and got 1,600 bucks, finishing in 35 seconds, and we'll get $3,200, finishing in 31 seconds. Again, every time I want to end with 0 seconds on the clock, but that's going to change pretty soon. All right, there is a 27-second pass. The checkpoint bonus times are now down to 7 seconds each time, and on this run, it's 6 seconds per checkpoint, $12,800, and a time of 23 seconds. But now it remains at 6 seconds per checkpoint. So take a look at the clock. It's going to go up by 6 seconds every time I go through a checkpoint, and it's never going to go up by less than 6 seconds, no matter how many times I pass this thing with a personal best. So now what I need to do in order to beat my previous time of 23 seconds is finish with 1 second on the clock, no longer 0 seconds on the clock. So that will give us, instead of 23 seconds as a completion time, 22 seconds. And 25,600 bucks, not bad for a day's work. And now again, we'll pass just barely faster, now 21 seconds with 2 seconds left on the clock. And we keep on trucking now with 3 seconds left on the clock, up to 102,000 bucks and a car that's on fire, no problem. And now I've skipped a number of passes because it's always the same. You just want to keep passing with 1 more second on the clock than you just did. And you can see that we're already up to $53 million and change. And this is what it looks like now. I'm really not pausing at the end. I'm almost beelining it at the end here. And in this case, we finished with 12 on the clock, which gave us a time of 11 seconds. And what is that number? 24 million? Do I have that right? No, I don't. $2,428,800. Easy. Note that I'm only showing you my passes, although I think I might fail on this one. I think I also skipped another one, went up to 211 million. So here, occasionally, I would fail from falling off the side of the building. More often, I would fail from smashing a cone. So I'm not showing you any of the fails, just showing you the passes here. And also note that the game just added a digit to my money total. It used to have 1 digit fewer until I exceeded $100 million, and then it just added a digit in the front. Not a big deal. All right, so now it has become too difficult for me to pass this in regular time with that route that I showed you. So we are going to do some very slow, very tedious, very annoying prep work. So the fact is the clock doesn't start until you touch a checkpoint. So I'm very careful not to touch a checkpoint as I nudge these stupid cones out of my way so that I can go faster through the first 2 gaps. I used to nudge more cones, like it took me a long time, and I'm not showing you all the nudging that I did. But anyway, those are the only cones that I nudge, and let's see if we can fly through these first 2 sets of the first 2 checkpoints and finish in a slightly faster time. So I think we're looking for a 10-second completion time. Son of a gun. So this is what happened all the time. This is why it took me 3 hours, is because the prep work would take like a minute, maybe more. And then I would fail. Like I failed so many times for the passes that I'm going to show you. But let's keep on trucking because I do have a little bit more to share about Cone Crazy. So I mentioned that this used to be a really important early part of speedrunners' routes through this game until a few years ago when something was discovered. So before that discovery, which I'll tell you about, the reason this was included was because it was the quickest way to earn enough money to buy what you need to buy in this game. So in order to unlock the final mission, the culminating mission, there's another smashed cone, in this game, you need to complete a certain number of assets. And in order to unlock those assets, you need to you need to complete asset missions. And in order to unlock the asset missions, you need to purchase a certain number of assets. And the assets cost money. Some of them cost a lot of money. For example, Sunshine Autos costs, I think it's $140,000. And in the beginning of the game, you got nothing. And so this is a very quick way to earn enough money to buy all of the assets that you need in order to unlock the final story mission. And so it wasn't just Cone Crazy was part of the 100% route because it's required to get 100% in the game, but it was a part of a ton of different speedrunning categories for this game. And that changed because there was a discovery of how to buy assets without actually paying the money for it. And once that happened, Cone Crazy all of a sudden went out the window, and now people don't do it anymore. I guess if you do the 100% route, you're still doing Cone Crazy once, but it's no longer an intimate part of a ton of different categories in Vice City. And so for me, I had never done Cone Crazy more than once in any given 100% speed run that I've done. And I got a lot of practice doing Cone Crazy, but still took me many hours. Like I said, 3 hours, 3 solid hours of recording footage. Most of it, sadly, was me doing exactly what you're seeing here. I'd spend like 2 minutes nudging cones out of the way. I would oftentimes smush a cone when I was nudging it out of the way. Occasionally, I would accidentally go into a checkpoint while I was moving the cones out of the way. And then once in a while, I would get everything right and get the cones out of the way. Hey, new best time, 9 seconds. What does that say? 209,715,200. Awesome. And then I just put the double speed cheat code on because one thing I didn't count on, and one thing that took up a substantial part of my um, my 3 hours of recording footage for this is what you're seeing here, which is me just waiting for the money to accumulate. Now, it's possible that I didn't need to sit here and wait. I could have just like gone on to the next attempt, but I didn't want to risk the potential of like dying, while the money was still counting up, and then I have to redo it and get the 9 second time again. So anyway, I sat here. So this is in double speed, and that's what I was playing it in. But yeah, anyway, like I got better at this, but still took a long time for me to get all the way down to the last possible doubling. Now I'm skipping ahead to the end of that $209 million coming into my wallet. It took a solid 16 minutes of real time for all that cash to go in, which meant 8 minutes in my time because I was playing with the double speed cheat code on the whole time. So yeah, and if you think about the fact that we've still got 2 more money doublings to go, and the amount of time that the money takes to go into my wallet is going to double each time as well, I think that's basically true. And that was a 16 minute, that was 16 minutes to get that 209 million. So yeah, a big part of the 3 hours was just waiting for the money to show up in the wallet. Most of my fails came from smashing a cone while I was nudging the cones out of the way. And even after I successfully got all the cones moved out of the way, I would oftentimes smash a cone during my attempt at speeding through this course. But the previous fail that I just showed you was another opportunity, another way that I failed was to just not complete the course fast enough. I needed to finish with 15 seconds left on the clock in order to beat my previous best time by 1 second. Smashed a cone, and in that case, I finished with 14 seconds left on the clock, just 1 second too late. And so my reward was $200 instead of $400 million. So it took me about 27 minutes after my previous pass in order to get this attempt right here that you're watching, which is my next pass. I needed to complete the course with 15 seconds on the clock, and I did just barely. So that's my new PB of 8 seconds, $419,430,400. And give it to me slowly. I'll skip past all of the time it took for the money to come in, but it took over 18 minutes, and that was using my double speed cheat code. So about 37 minutes in real time is what it would have taken if I weren't using the double speed cheat code. Yeah, that's how long it takes for $420 million to go into your wallet. All right, I'm going to do Cone Crazy one last time, but we're going to come back to this save file right here. This one right here is going to be the main save file going forward, but let's try to pass Cone Crazy one final time. So here's my final pass of Cone Crazy in this video. I'm going to show you me shoving the cones around. I'll show it to you in quadruple speed, but I just want to show it to you to remind you that like I did this setup before every single one of my, I don't know, last 4 or 5 passes. Oh, there's a fail. So yeah, so this is going to be my 23rd pass of Cone Crazy, my 22nd doubling of the $200 initial prize. So in order to pass this time, the final time, I need to complete Cone Crazy in 7 seconds or better. And that means finishing with 16 seconds left on the clock. I decided to change the order in which I picked these Coronas up. So here we are, and trying to complete this thing with 16 on the clock and just barely with a pass of 7 seconds. And give it to me. $838,860,800 for that one pass. And that means a total of $1,677,721,400 from all of the Cone Crazy attempts. But it turns out there's a cap on the amount of money that gets displayed in the top right. It's $1 less than $1 billion, so that's what we're winding down to right now. We'll shake the camera because we're real happy that Cone Crazy is over. Again, 3 hours of doing that loop and pushing cones around very slowly. So yeah, $999,999,999 is what it says. But in actuality, I should have about 1.6 billion. And so I'm just going to test a little bit to see if maybe I am at 1.6 billion, even though I can't see it. So listen as we get this money on the floor. Okay, so you could hear the money pickup sound, but our money didn't change in the top right corner. And now this should cost us $1,000 for the pay and spray. So the money didn't go up when we picked up the cash, and the money does not appear to go down when we go to the pay and spray. So then I reloaded my previous save state, and you'll see that this does cost us $1,000, going from the 6,018 to 5,918. So I've reloaded my save state from the 840 million. This is going to be the one that we use going forward in this series. And so I'm just going to head over to the safe house and refill my armor and then save the game and call this episode done. But a question that I have for you all is do I really have in that other save file where it said 999 million and change? Is that actually how much money I had, or do I have more and the game just isn't showing it to me? And if I do have more, what is the maximum amount of money allowed in the game? Because maybe I have 1.6 billion in that other save file, and the actual maximum is 2 billion or 10 billion. I don't know. I don't know. So if you have any thoughts on Cone Crazy, you like it, you hate it, what do you think about it? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you real soon.